Listen to me carefully. Here's the brutal truth nobody tells you. You're not broke because you're stupid. You're broke because your brain is sabotaging you right now in ways you can't even see. Every single financial decision you make is hijacked by invisible psychological traps that were hardwired into you before you even understood what money was. Morgan Housel exposes something shocking. Billionaires, actual billionaires, commit fraud not because they need money, but because they cannot control the emotional demon of never enough. Think about that. That expensive car you're dreaming about, the one you think will make people respect you, nobody will admire you for it. They'll just fantasize about themselves owning it, while you drown in debt trying to impress people who don't even care.
The wealthy person you envy driving that luxury SUV, there's a 90% chance they're faking it. Meanwhile, the real millionaire next door drives a decade-old Toyota. You walk past them every day, and you'd never know they have $5 million in the bank. This isn't another generic money book filled with budgeting tips and investment formulas. This is the raw, uncomfortable mirror that's about to show you the 18 psychological traps keeping you trapped in financial mediocrity. Here's the game-changing truth. Getting rich requires aggression and risk, but staying rich, it requires the exact opposite: paranoia, humility, and the courage to look poor while being wealthy. Your emotions will betray you. During every market crash, every bonus check, every single moment, you compare yourself to others.
Wealth isn't about being the smartest person in the room. It's about controlling your psychology long enough to let time and compound interest do the heavy lifting. Master your mind. Accept that you'll be wrong. Define what enough means before greed destroys you. And realize this: the ultimate luxury isn't a mansion. It's waking up and controlling every single hour of your day. This is your psychological warfare manual for money. It will either save your financial life or make you realize why you've been losing a game you didn't even know you were playing. Let's begin. Act 1. The false confidence. The foundation of financial failure begins with one thing: overconfidence. Overconfidence in our own rationality. Most people approach money believing they're logical calculators making smart decisions. But the reality? It's far messier than that. Trap number 1. You think you're logical. We believe we make financial decisions based on pure reason. But here's what's really happening. Our choices are shaped by personal experiences, especially experiences from our formative years that we don't even remember. Someone who grew up during high inflation views money completely differently than someone who came of age during a bull market. They're not wrong, you're not wrong, you're just different. Your financial blueprint was written by circumstances you didn't choose, yet you assume your perspective is universal truth. And this creates a dangerous blind spot. You can't see how your unique history distorts your perception of what normal financial behavior even is. Let that sink in. Trap number 2. You think you're in control. The illusion of control is one of money's cruelest tricks. We believe success comes purely from our actions. We ignore the massive, undeniable role of luck and risk. When someone succeeds financially, what do we say? They're brilliant. They worked hard. They deserve it. When they fail, they're stupid. They didn't plan. It's their fault. But let me tell you something. Bill Gates attended one of the only high schools in the world with a computer in 1968. Think about that. One of the only schools in the entire world. An extraordinary stroke of luck. His Microsoft co-founder, Kent Evans, was just as talented, just as smart, just as driven. But he died in a mountaineering accident before they could build the company together. Skill matters? Of course it does. But so does randomness. And the inability to separate the two, it leads to hubris in success and absolute devastation in failure. Trap number 3. You believe the story, not the reality. We're seduced by compelling narratives rather than boring truths. The investment world thrives on storytelling. Charismatic CEOs promising the future, revolutionary products that will change everything, get-rich-quick schemes that sound too good to be true, because they are. But you want to know the most powerful force in finance? It's dull. It's unglamorous. It's boring. It's the slow, steady accumulation of compound interest over decades. There's no exciting story in save consistently and wait 30 years. So we chase narratives with drama, with excitement, with promises of quick wealth, ignoring that most real wealth is built through patience, not brilliance. Trap number 4. You think you're a spreadsheet. Financial planning assumes you're a rational robot who will stick to the plan no matter what. But here's the problem. You're not a robot. Spreadsheets don't account for the fear you feel during market crashes. They don't account for the temptation of lifestyle inflation when you get that promotion, or the sheer panic of watching your portfolio drop 40% in 3 months. The technically optimal financial decision often becomes impossible to execute when real human emotions enter the equation. And here's what they don't tell you. A good plan that you can actually stick with beats a perfect plan that you'll abandon the moment things get hard. Remember that. Act 2. The emotional hijack. Money doesn't just affect your bank account. It triggers your deepest psychological vulnerabilities.
Trap number 5. You chase more than you need. The goalpost of enough constantly moves backward. No matter how much you accumulate, the comparison game ensures you always feel behind. Let me give you 2 examples that'll blow your mind. Rajat Gupta, billionaire, board member at Goldman Sachs. He committed insider trading. Why? Because he felt poor compared to his billionaire friends. Bernie Madoff, already wealthy beyond imagination. He destroyed thousands of lives, ruined families, caused suicides. Why? Because he needed more. The inability to say, I have enough, is the psychological trap that converts winners into losers. True wealth comes from knowing when to stop playing the game. Trap number 6. You think stuff will make you admired. We buy expensive things hoping others will admire us. I get it. I understand why. But here's the paradox that nobody talks about. People don't admire your possessions. They admire themselves imagining they owned your possessions. When someone sees your luxury car, they don't think, wow, the driver must be cool. They think, wow, if I had that car, people would think I'm cool. You're buying admiration that doesn't exist. You're spending real money on a fantasy. Want to know what actually earns respect? Humility, kindness, intelligence, not the price tag on your watch. Trap number 7. You think looking rich means being rich. Here's something the wealthy know that you don't. Wealth is what you don't see. The paradox of financial success is that the only way to be truly wealthy is to not spend your money, which means not looking wealthy. That person driving the $100,000 car, there's a good chance they're drowning in debt, stressed, one emergency away from bankruptcy. Meanwhile, the actual millionaire drives a 10-year-old Toyota. Wealth is hidden in bank accounts, in investments, in unspent income. And here's the harsh truth. The more someone displays their riches, the less rich they likely are.
Trap number 8. You fall for fear disguised as wisdom. Pessimism sounds smarter than optimism. When someone predicts disaster, they appear prudent and sophisticated. When someone predicts growth, they seem naive and reckless. But here's what history actually shows. Optimists are right far more often. Markets trend upward over time. Living standards improve. Innovation solves problems. Pessimism gets attention. Optimism gets results. Don't confuse the intelligence of the message with the accuracy of the prediction.
Act 3. The hidden rules of money. Now we get to the good stuff, the counterintuitive principles that actually build lasting wealth, the rules nobody teaches you.
Trap number 9. You think saving needs a goal. We're taught to save for something specific: retirement, a house, college for the kids. But let me tell you about the most powerful saving of all. Saving with no specific purpose except flexibility and freedom. Money without a designated use gives you options when life throws curveballs, and life will throw curveballs. It buys you time to think, the ability to quit a toxic job, breathing room during emergencies. The highest return on investment isn't from picking the right stocks. It's from building a cushion that lets you wait for the right opportunities and weather any storm without desperation.
Trap number 10. You want the gains, but not the ride. Everyone wants investment returns, but nobody wants volatility. Nobody wants uncertainty. Nobody wants to see temporary losses. Yet these aren't bugs in the system. They're features. They're the price of admission for long-term gains. You don't get 10% annual returns without experiencing 30% drops along the way. That's just how it works. Most people abandon their strategy during the turbulence, selling low, buying high, turning temporary volatility into permanent losses. The wisdom is, accept that market chaos is the fee for wealth building, not a fine you can avoid. It's the cost of doing business.
Trap number 11. You think getting rich is the hard part. This is crucial. Listen carefully to this one. Building wealth requires taking risks, concentrating your investments, being aggressive. But staying wealthy requires the exact opposite: humility, diversification, paranoia about what could go wrong. Many people make money through bold bets. Then they lose it all by continuing to take unnecessary risks after they've already won. Once you have enough, the game changes from offense to defense. And here's what you need to understand: survival is more important than optimization.
Trap number 12. You overestimate your plan. Here's an uncomfortable truth. No financial plan survives contact with reality. The world changes. Your goals shift. Unexpected events disrupt even the most meticulous strategies. So rather than creating an inflexible roadmap, build a plan with room for error. Assume you're wrong about something, maybe many things, and design your finances to survive being wrong. The key, margin of safety, is the difference between success and ruin. Never forget that.
Act 4. The long game. Now we come to the most underestimated variable in wealth building: time.
Trap number 13. You underestimate the power of time. Compound interest is simple math, but it's impossible to intuitively grasp how powerful it really is. Warren Buffett's net worth is $84.5 billion, but here's what blows my mind. $84.2 billion of that came after his 50th birthday. He's been investing since age 10. His wealth resulted more from decades of compounding than from genius stock picking. The lesson? Time transforms modest savings into life-changing wealth, but only if you give it decades to work. The tragedy? And here's the tragedy. Most people never give compounding enough runway. They start too late, quit too early, or interrupt the process chasing quick wins. Don't be most people.
Trap number 14. You ignore how rare success really is. We study successful companies and investors. We extract lessons about what made them great. But we completely ignore the thousands of equally talented, equally hardworking people who failed due to bad luck. Survivorship bias makes success look more replicable than it is. For every Apple, there are hundreds of forgotten startups with similar products. They failed due to timing, competition, randomness. Don't assume success is purely skill-based. Sometimes the winners just drew better cards. Stay humble.
Trap number 15. You buy stuff and sell your time. This is the big one. Here's something most people realize too late.
The greatest luxury money can buy isn't material. It's not a car, not a house, not a watch. It's control over your time. The ability to wake up and say, I can do whatever I want today. That's the ultimate form of wealth. Yet most people trade this freedom for material possessions, working longer hours to afford bigger houses and nicer cars, trapping themselves in a lifestyle that requires continued sacrifice of their time. True wealth is measured not by what you own, but by how much control you have over your days. Think about that.
Act 5. Become the person who wins long term. We're in the final act now. This is where everything comes together. The mindset shift necessary to achieve lasting financial success.
Trap number 16. You expect the market to be predictable. Markets are driven by human emotions, not mathematical formulas. You cannot predict when fear or greed will dominate, making short-term forecasting essentially useless. So, the solution isn't better predictions. It's building a strategy that works regardless of what happens next. Diversification, long-time horizons, staying invested through chaos. These are the only reliable approaches. Stop trying to time the market. Instead, focus on time in the market. Trap number 17. You forget that you'll change. At 25, you can't imagine the goals you'll have at 45. At 45, you can't fathom the values you'll hold at 65. Yet we make irreversible financial decisions assuming our future selves will want what we want now. Taking on enormous debt for a career you might abandon, locking money in restrictive investments. This ignores that you're constantly evolving. Build flexibility into your financial life, because the person you're becoming will thank you for leaving options open.
Trap number 18. You copy people who aren't playing your game. Here's the last trap, and it's a big one. Everyone in the market looks like they're playing the same game, but they're not. Day traders have different goals than retirees. Institutional investors have different constraints than individuals. When you copy someone's strategy without understanding their time frame, their risk tolerance, their objectives, you sabotage yourself. Define your own game, your timeline, your risk capacity, your definition of winning, and ignore everyone playing a different game, no matter how successful they appear.
So here we are. The psychology of money isn't about getting rich quick. It never was. It's about staying sane and solvent over decades. Wealth is less about intelligence and more about behavior. It's built through controlling your ego, expanding your time horizon, accepting that you'll be wrong, and recognizing that enough is enough. The person who wins with money isn't the smartest in the room. It's the one who survives the longest with a strategy they can emotionally tolerate. Master your psychology, and the math will take care of itself. This is your financial awakening, your psychological warfare manual. The question is, what will you do with it? The choice is yours, and the time is now.